Kanitz, let's talk about Donald Trump and Hillary Clinton.
Yep.
You told me a few days ago that Trump is better than Clinton. Could you explain again?
Clinton and I have a good friend, buddies, in common. And Trump likes this guy, he's a Brazilian. And so I called him up 2 weeks ago and said, look, Trump's crazy, he's mad, what is this guy? And Ricardo says, no, he's brilliant. And we had a long talk, and two things came out which were very impressed me. Number one, that he's a very loyal person. He is loyal, and he's a communitarian. Communitarian is a type of, it's an old political ideology. It's a mixture of, let's say, libertarianism and conservatism. So we know that Trump isn't exactly a Republican, a hardcore Republican. And a communitarian, I would say, is a libertarian that worries about other people and not only himself. And then it dawned to me, obviously, because he likes communities. And all his life, he's been building communities. He's in the real estate development. So he really thinks about a community.
He makes money with the relationship.
So he is a communitarian, and he wants to I think, make America, when he says, I want to make America great again, he's actually saying, we want to go back to basics. And this is, if you do business school, one of the things we have to analyze when things are going wrong, and America is really going wrong. It's running against a brick wall, and I'm amazed, and you are, I know, amazed that most Americans don't see that. But so when we have a problem like that, one of the analyses we have to do is, well, let's stop. Let's see if we haven't done a mistake a year ago, 10 years ago. We haven't left course from our mission statement or our basic core values. And that's what Trump is saying, let's go back to basics. But he cannot say that because the progressive left will say, no, we want progress. We don't want to go back to anything. But I think he's right. So he's not going to be a revolutionary. He's not going to do something which no one knows. You worry, what is he going to do? I know what he's going to do. He's going to give 2 or 3 steps back, go back to basics. And basic is the communitarian spirit of the American in Tocqueville in America, the community. The Middle West conservative is small towns, community. And that's where immigration comes in. Because he's not against immigrants, but the word immigration comes from migrant. So I would say he's against migrants, people who move from one community to the other. They couldn't care less. They want a bit better job, and they just leave. They have no, they have
don't
no
pay taxes, don't.
No, they may pay taxes, but they don't have any affiliation with their friends. They said, "Oh, go by," and they won't fight for the community if there's a problem. So, no, we'll leave. So a migrant isn't something Trump believes in. And these migrants, which is the Mexicans, not only they sometimes take a job away, but they're sending the money to Mexico. So you have a financial problem, you have an economic problem, because you don't have demand. You have these Canadian policy in the U.S. because the Mexican works there, produces something, but it won't be sold because the money has gone, which would have bought the product, is going to Mexico. So that's another problem. So he doesn't like migrants. He isn't against immigrants. An immigrant is the migrant that comes in. That's why it comes immigration. So you move in, but he would prefer if you'd move in and became more active. But if you just move in and keep quiet, it's okay. But there's a third type of immigrant, which we don't even know. You look up at the dictionary, it's called the integrant. The integrant is the one that moves in and integrates with the community. So you belong. I think you're someone like that. I mean, you're Brazilian, but you like the American way. So you go into the community and say, "Look, I'd like to come in. I'm willing to follow the shared values."
Take a long time.
It will take a long time. Your kids will be better than you, and your nephews will be the first American born of Americans.
Yeah.
So you're born from Brazilians. Your son is also born of a Brazilian, but your nephew will be truly American. It takes time. That's okay. And you will contribute. I guess you will say, "Look, I'm willing to wear American clothes, plus or minus 2 standard deviations, But it's not burqas and all that." So I think Trump is absolutely for the integrant, the immigrant that integrates in society, which has always done.
And Hillary.
Hillary comes from another type of value. She's a migrant because she was, Bill Clinton was governor of Alabama, and she's now senator of New York. There's no commitment to the community. She just goes around where she wants, and she's actually using New York for her political power. She has no relationship or what you call it, loyalty, which is another word.
Wow, it's so deep.
Huh?
You tell something deep.
Once again, Benino told me that Trump believes in loyalty, loyalty to your community. So you just don't make money in your community, then go move to New York. That's the problem of many wealthy people, that they abandon the small American town. You become rich and then you leave your community. No, you can't do that. You have to stay there and try to improve your community. That's being loyal to the community that made you, because for you to become someone, someone helped you to study, someone helped you when you fell, so the communitarian vision of Trump really impressed me. I'm a communitarian, so I could see that very fast.
Before the end, what do you think Gary Johnson will do?
So Gary Johnson is a libertarian, so I'm sure he can see a lot of affinity with Trump, and I think Trump knows he's already won, because he's doing many things as a president. He's already announced his 13 aides, and they're now already looking for a school in Washington, and they're looking for their own advisors and subordinates. So why would he do that? That has never been done already. And one of the criticisms, but there was only one economist, and so he's lost 400,000 votes, which are the economists of the United States. So he knows he's going to win. Now, why? Well, what does he have? He has an ace card, which we don't know what it is. And I think you're right. It may be Gary Johnson, who's a libertarian, and he's got 9% of the votes. And he just cannot allow himself to be responsible for Hillary Clinton's victory.
Next November will be my first vote in America. I just became citizen 2 years ago, and if I understood, you suggest me to vote Trump.
Because you're an integrant. You will be better off with Trump, because he's going to create your community stronger. He's against big government, but he's for strong community government. It's not that we want minimum government. No, we want government in the hands of the community. We want strong communities. So you will have more money in your community to decide the things that you need. You might even decide to lower your taxes, but that's your decision. It's not going to be a federal government decision. So if you say, no, we have enough, then we can reduce. You will decide how much taxes you will have. And the federal government has been encroaching and becoming bigger and bigger, and that's inevitable. In fact, I'm reading a book now about Woodrow Wilson, and he writes about the Constitution, and he already says, look, we've made a mistake. The federal government is growing against the will of the founding fathers.
And we saw this movie in Brazil.
Yeah, we're seeing it.